In Spider-Man Brand New Day, the Hulk is bound to tons of falling debris by Spider-Man's webbing, and it raises an obvious question. The Hulk is one of the strongest beings in the entire universe, so why on earth does he not just rip that flimsy little web off like a piece of tissue paper? The answer is way more interesting than just the web is strong. Let's break it down. Here is the assumption almost everyone makes. Spider-Man shoots string. The Hulk has functionally unlimited strength. Therefore, the Hulk should snap that web without even noticing. It sounds completely airtight, and yet, in comic after comic and now on the big screen, Spidey's webbing holds monsters that, by all logic, should tear through it instantly. So, what is actually going on here? The truth is that Spider-Man's web is not beating the Hulk with raw strength. It could never win that contest, and Peter knows it. It is beating him with something the Hulk almost never has to think about: physics, material science, and pure tactics. There are 4 real reasons that web holds, and not one of them is about being stronger than the Hulk. Reason 1. The web itself is genuinely absurdly strong. Peter Parker's web fluid is not string. It is a biocable, a synthetic super silk he engineers in his own lab. And pound for pound, real spider silk is already one of the toughest materials in all of nature, rivaling high-grade steel while weighing a tiny fraction as much. And that is not comic book exaggeration, that is real science. Actual spider silk has a tensile strength comparable to structural steel, and it can absorb an enormous amount of energy before it finally fails. Now take that and imagine a genius scaling it up into a purpose-built weapon. Peter's webbing is engineered silk, dialed all the way up to 11, and we actually saw the proof in that debris scene. If the webbing was holding 150 tons of building in tension without snapping, then its real-world strength is completely off the charts. That single web line was doing the job of a heavy industrial steel cable. Whatever this material is, it is very clearly not a joke. But strength alone is not the interesting part. Reason 2 is the clever one. The web stretches. It is elastic, and a material that stretches is shockingly hard to snap because instead of resisting your force in one rigid spot, it simply gives and spreads that force out across itself. Think about it. To break something, you need to concentrate force on one point until it fails. But the web behaves like a spring. When the Hulk yanks, the web stretches, absorbs the energy, and distributes the load across every strand at once. There is no single weak point to snap, because the entire web shares the strain together. This is the same reason a bungee cord does not snap when it catches you, but a rigid steel bar would shatter. Elasticity turns a violent sudden pull into a slow, spread out stretch. And the Hulk's single greatest weapon is explosive force. The web is specifically almost insultingly good at swallowing explosive force whole. There is a specific word material scientists use for this, and it is not hardness, it is toughness. Toughness is the ability to absorb energy without breaking. Spider silk is one of the toughest materials known to science, and toughness is the exact property you want against a being whose entire fighting style is delivering maximum energy as fast as physically possible. Reason 3 might be the most important of all, and it has nothing to do with the web itself. It is leverage. Raw strength is completely useless without something to push or pull against, and Spider-Man's whole strategy is to quietly take that leverage away from you. To rip something apart, you need a solid stance, a free range of motion, and a point to brace against. Now picture the Hulk with his arms webbed to his own body, or his fist stuck to the ground, or his whole torso cocooned. His muscles are just as strong, but he cannot aim that strength anywhere. Strength with no leverage is just straining. This is exactly why Spidey does not try to outmuscle bricks like the Hulk. He wraps them. He pins the arms, glues the feet, and cocoons the body so that every ounce of that monstrous strength has nowhere to go. You are not really breaking the web, you are fighting your own trapped limbs, and even the Hulk cannot beat that instantly. Reason 4 is the secret ingredient behind every other one: Peter Parker's brain. The web is only ever as good as the genius aiming it, and Peter is one of the smartest people in the entire Marvel universe. He does not just spray webbing everywhere and hope for the best. Peter engineers his web fluid, and in the comics, he mixes stronger, specialized formulas for exactly these situations. Tougher blends, impact webbing, versions designed specifically to hold heavy hitters. When he knows he is about to face something strong, he does not bring string to the fight. He brings the chemistry equivalent of a titanium net. and he aims it like a tactician. Joints, not muscles. Anchor points, not open air. He webs the Hulk to something immovable, or webs his limbs together, turning the Hulk's own body into the trap. It is the classic Spider-Man move. He cannot beat you with power, so he beats you with a plan you never saw coming. And none of this is a stretch, because the comics have been showing it for decades. Spider-Man has webbed up the Hulk, the Rhino, and a long list of beings who massively outmuscle him. It never holds them forever, but here is the thing, it does not need to. It holds them for the handful of seconds Peter needs to do something clever. Which brings us to the single most important truth in this entire debate. Spider-Man's web is not a cage, it is a delay. It was never designed to hold the Hulk permanently. It is designed to buy time, and against a hero like the Hulk, even a few seconds of time is absolutely everything. And here is the tell that proves it. Spider-Man's webbing dissolves completely on its own after about an hour. Peter deliberately builds it to disappear. That is a giant clue that the web was never meant to be a permanent prison. It is a tool to control a fight for a moment, not to win a strength contest forever. So let's be completely honest, because the Hulk fans are right about one thing. Given enough time and enough rage, the Hulk breaks free of literally anything. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, with no known upper limit. Web him up, and eventually he absolutely will tear loose. That part is not really in question at all, but eventually is the whole key word. In the moment, the tensile strength, the stretch, the stolen leverage, and Peter's genius all stack up to hold the Hulk far longer than his raw power says they ever should. And Spider-Man does not need forever. He just needs the 3 seconds it takes to move the fight somewhere he can win. Now bring it all the way back to Brand New Day. In that scene, the web is not even trying to restrain an angry Hulk. It is doing the one single thing it is absolutely best at, holding a massive load in pure tension while the Hulk cooperates. That is the web operating in its perfect ideal mode, and it is why the moment works so beautifully. Because here is a key detail most people miss. The web is strongest when it is pulled straight, in tension along its length. And that is exactly the load in the debris scene, with everything hanging straight down. Spidey's web is far easier to cut or peel than it is to snap by pulling. Attach a load in tension, and you are using the web at its absolute strongest. If the Hulk actually wanted to beat that web, he would not pull on it. He would try to shear it, twist it, or peel it off a surface, attacking it sideways instead of head-on. That is the web's genuine weakness. But raw, straight-line pulling, which is the Hulk's instinctive move, is the exact one thing this material is built to survive. So how strong is this stuff really? Let's actually rank it. If you line up materials by their tensile strength for their weight, pound for pound, Spider-Man's engineered webbing sits right at the very top, above the toughest things human beings have ever managed to make. At the bottom, ordinary thread and rope. Above that, high-grade steel cable, the stuff that holds up entire bridges. Then Kevlar, the material in bulletproof vests. Then real spider silk, already stronger by weight than all of them. And at the very top, Peter's super silk webbing, a material engineered to hold gods in place. And that is what makes Spider-Man so special. His webbing is the great equalizer. It is the tool that lets a 200-pound guy from Queens go toe-to-toe with monsters, gods, and yes, even the Hulk, and actually walk away. Not by being stronger than them, but by being smarter about force than any of them. It is the entire philosophy of the character in a single strand. Spider-Man almost never wins by hitting harder. He wins by understanding the fight better than anyone else in it, by turning strength, leverage, and materials against opponents who only really know how to smash. The web is his brain, made into a weapon. So against the Hulk specifically, the web is not a wall, it is a stall. It absorbs his force, steals his leverage, and holds just long enough for the smartest man in the room to completely change the game. In a straight tug of war, the Hulk wins every time. But Spider-Man is never actually playing tug of war. So why could the Hulk not just rip off Spider-Man's web? Because in that moment, he is fighting a material stronger than steel, that stretches instead of snapping, wrapped in a way that steals his leverage, engineered by a genius to do exactly this job. He can break free, eventually. But eventually is far too late. And that, right there, is the entire point. The strongest being alive, held for just long enough by a strand of engineered silk and a really, really good plan. That is the quiet magic of Spider-Man. Do you think the web could ever hold the Hulk for good, or does he always break out in the end? Tell me below, and tell me which comic book question you want me to answer next.